what's up? It has been a minute or two since I filmed anything, at least in this personal form at my house and in the garden, with me in it. That is, I've been recording some shorts of just like me showing what is in the garden. So this feels a little bit new again, only because it's been so long. So I'm a little nervous about it, but it'll be okay. I have a ton of things to do in the garden today/tomorrow, my 2 days off. I have so much to do that it is a little bit overwhelming. So I've decided to just turn the camera on, start, and then pick an easy task that'll make me feel accomplished and motivated to do something else. And that easy task is going to be removing the cucumber plants that I no longer want to have, because I have started a second round of cucumbers inside in the grow room that will replace these, and I'm going to top dress the beds before I plant those in there, so that I know there's plenty of nutrition in the soil. So let's just get this easy task done so I can feel accomplished, and that'll get me motivated to continue doing things in the garden. A lot of times it's hard to figure out where to start, but if I just start, I always figure it out. So we'll remove these cucumbers. These ones here have been stunted the whole time. I let them stay in the small containers, the 2-inch pots, way too long. So these ones are actually only this tall. Like the whole plant stops right here. So that's the first one I'm going to go ahead and take out. There are tiny cucumbers growing on there, but they're really funny shaped and they haven't been growing very quickly, and they're just like tiny little balls of cucumber rather than full cucumbers. So I just didn't have much hope for this one. And I know it's not a pollination problem. I've seen lots of bees all over these cucumbers. I'll clip off this long oregano stem because I was just mixing into the cucumbers and getting in my way visually for now. This lemon cucumber is actually fairly strong, and I don't exactly know which base belongs to it. So I'm going to trace back the base of this lemon cucumber and leave that one. This is the third stunted one. It's starting to look better, but I have a whole new round that's not going to be stunted at all. So I'm taking that one too.
Hey guys, this is Editing Alex. I just wanted to take a quick sec to let you know that I am terribly aware at how bad the audio is in the first little bit of this video. That's why I took the time to go ahead and type out subtitles for you guys, but I will let you know that the audio does get better in just a few minutes, so I'm so sorry. If you can bear with me, it'll get better. Thanks so much.
I'm going to trim off the side shoots of the lemon cucumber, so it just has the one main stem, because I do have more lemon cucumbers planted. By side shoots, I mean like leaders. Cucumber plants kind of create leaders in the armpits of their plants the same way as tomatoes do, so I'm just removing basically a tomato sucker, but for a cucumber. You know what? This whole container is yellow enough and growing wonky enough that I might just remove all of these. Even the lemon, because I have more inside. I have a ton of cucumbers right now, so I won't be missing out on cucumbers at all. And these plants just don't really look good. And all of the cucumbers on this one have been, not this lemon cucumber, but from this bucket in general, have been just smaller, and they're kind of bitter anyway because of how hot it is outside. So this has turned into a total whack down for my cucumbers. I'm leaving the roots in the soil because they will just compost in place down there and become food for my new plants that I'm going to grow. You don't have to unwind this string. I did use compostable twine, but it's not been out here very long and it's not even close to breaking. I'm still able to use it, so I'm just going to unwind it and leave it hanging here for the next cucumbers to grow on. I think I might end up just removing all of these cucumbers. Arms are already itchy. Great. Love that. These are all such a mess. Yeah. I think that's decided it for me. They're all coming down. Okay, I don't have very much space anyway. I'm really limited on how many things I can grow at once, and if these ones are all starting to look bad, and I have a round of brand new ones coming, then why should I try and fix the ones that look bad rather than just replace them? Especially considering I start from seed, not from transplant. It's just more cost efficient that way. So I've already gotten plenty of cucumbers off of these plants. I'm literally not wasting any money by just removing these ones and replacing them with new. There's another side shoot growing over onto my tomatoes. My mom just stopped by. Okay, well, I've officially removed all of the cucumbers, and I'm probably going to turn this bucket so the okra's on the other side where it will get more sun, or at least on this side. But I'm not going to do anything with containers yet. I'm going to do all of the removal that I need to do. So there are a few containers of green beans that need to come out because I have some new ones already growing, and I brought seeds of green beans out here for me to plant, and these little bush beans are not happy. So just here, right next to where the cucumbers were, this is the cucumber wall that way. There was actually cucumber in this container also that I already removed. So these beans are coming out. They have little dappling on the leaves. They don't get very much sun over here because of the cucumber wall and the tomato wall. So they just didn't do very well. In general, they do have a couple beans on them, but they're very tiny and already starting to get actual beans on the inside, which isn't what you want for green beans. So they're obviously not their happiest, and we're removing them. Again, I'm just going to pull them slightly out of the soil and then clip them just low enough down that I know they're not going to regrow, and then leave the roots in the soil to compost in place. Remove all these fallen leaves, and this bed is now empty and ready to be amended and replanted. Now this bed is also ready to be amended and replanted. So now, in the spirit of removal, I think I'm going to remove a lot of leaves and maybe a few complete plants from my tomato wall. So let's do that. Guys, this is my sunflower that has actually bloomed. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I didn't notice it until yesterday, so pretty good. We'll start with all the dead leaves on this. I want more cherry tomato plants, but I'm not sure if I have time to start any from seed. So I'm going to probably try and get some suckers off of the cherry tomato plants I already have and root them in water. so that I can have another succession of cherry tomatoes. I think, oh, there's at least one sucker up there. It's definitely the cherry tomato that I want. Yep. This will become an entirely new cherry tomato plant. It's very bright, the sun is blinding me. That's a little melon. It's doing so good. That's a golden Jenny melon. See, like this one right here is so diseased in comparison to the ones next to it. It has a split in it where it almost broke when it was younger. There's only 2 very tiny tomatoes on it, and 3 or 4 tiny tomatoes and barely any blossoms. At least this branch of this is good. So let me show you. Sorry about the air conditioner if you can hear that, but upon closer inspection, there's this one which obviously has some blight on it, some spotting, some curling, and that's totally normal for tomato plants in my area. It is very hot and humid where I live, which tomato plants do not love. But this one has this split in it right here, as well as just way more spotting and discoloration than the others. But this branch here is the same tomato, is doing pretty good. Up there at the top has some fruit and stuff, but I'd rather not have to feed this full tomato plant for that much longer, so I'm gonna take at least this left branch. Here's another cherry tomato sucker that I will root into a plant. Now I basically need to do some pruning on the opposite side, so let's go to the sun together. I'm so sure that this video is very, very bright, and I'm so sorry about that. It is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but this is the time that I had to do this, so this is the time that I'm doing this, and I wanted to take you guys, so I'm doing what I can. Alright, so starting with tomatoes. What's going on here? This guy needs wound. It's not a tomato, but I need it out of the way. This one doesn't look so happy on the bottom, but it's actually one of the nicest looking ones on the opposite side. So I'm going to leave that one. It's just a cherry tomato anyway. I can remove it whenever. Maybe I'll get another sucker off of it before I do remove it so that I can have a replacement. I don't know what is going on over here. This is like a round stem, and then it goes to like a wide, flat stem, and it's just gone, ow, pokey, way away from where it was intended to be at. This one here has grown all the way up and is now coming back over the top. That's what this one is. So that one's okay. That's doing what I want it to do. This tomato has a sucker at the top, so it's not totally dead, and I'll let that keep growing. But this needs to do better, or we're not going to agree with each other. Okay. This is where we're at. What I'm going to do is stick it through there and over the top. There we go, sir. That's what I want you to do. Perfect. But now this tomato is broken further down. It happens, it happens. There is a fairly large fruit cluster below this point, so I'm going to leave this for now. the whole tomato. I mean, I'm going to leave the whole tomato for now, but just cut off that top part because there is some fruit growing here. Tomatoes I dig further down before I cut them because they just grow back and grow back ridiculously. So I want to make sure I'm all the way down into the rooting area before I snip it off like that so that I have the best chances of a tomato not coming back. Not a sucker, but it is a broken tomato. So I'm going to snip it and root it. I'll put it in my rooting tomatoes pile. Oh, I got hives on my arm from something. It's very itchy. But that is what happens in the garden. I will wash it when I go inside. These leaves are very droopy, but they are not dead. It's just because it is so hot outside right now. It's the middle of the day, so that's what these kind of leaves do at this point. So now we're into this container. Let's start by removing the dead leaves close to the bottom so I can see what we're doing. So this is the one that goes all the way up and over. So that one's doing good, but it doesn't have any flowers on it or fruit, so I don't know what's up with that. This one that I'm touching here is the honey nut squash that I'm going to be removing side shoots from. Quite a bit better. Nice large tomatoes here. They're going to be good for one. Got this one here, also looking decent. This side looks good, but the other side had to be cut a long time ago because it got folded over in the middle. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that side off now. This tomatillo plant got broken while I was in Japan. One of its branches got too heavy and I hadn't tied it up. And it took out a big chunk of the main stem. So all these tomatillos have been just tiny little tomatillos, and it's growing a lot slower than my other plant did. So this one's just not worth it to keep in. So I am struggling to untie it with a glove on. See, it just wasn't strong in the middle. It had this big hole in it. Tomato leader does need to be tied up, so I will remove this one. This tomato that I cut. Okay guys, it's been a few hours. It is now almost 4:30. And I did a lot of removal earlier, and my phone overheated and died while I was recording, so you probably didn't see a lot of it, but I finished up trimming up the tomatoes and things that were on the other wall. So now I need to remove this tomatillo. It's much more bearable out here, and I also changed into pants because I was getting eaten alive by bugs. So we're going to remove this tomatillo and this nasturtium plant. This is one of the beds that I'm going to get ready to replant. There are people mowing their yards a few blocks away, as well as it's quite windy, so I'll do my best to come closer to the camera and talk to you guys when I do talk. I need to probably get a microphone that I can like clip on my shirt or something. So I'm just going to clip all the branches down and then remove this center trellis and then take the center stalk out because that's just the easiest it seems. This nasturtium does still have fruits on it, but as you can see, they are very, very small, and there's a lot of bug damage on here. But this was one of the first plants that I had producing in the garden, so it's well over, it's about 5 months old at this point, and it's given me quite a few tomatillos that were way better looking than these ones, so I can just tell this one is ready to go. I could just top dress it and try to save the specific plant, but it also was growing so wonky and everywhere, so I'm gonna trim the next ones better than this. That was thick. There's an okra right over there that I can harvest. An okra gets really big really fast, so I'm going to go ahead and harvest it even though there's only one. This one went from this big to this big in like 3 days. So these sad looking plants are what's left of my potatoes that have been in here close to 100 days now. So they should be plenty ready to harvest. Actually, the plants dying back like this is how you know they're ready. Preferably they would all look like this, but I do need to amend the space so that I can use these containers for something else and move them to where I actually want them to be. So we're going to go ahead and harvest them today. I harvested one plant out of this one yesterday, and they weren't huge. There was one that was pretty big, but they weren't huge, mostly like baby baker little potatoes, but hey, it's something. And I'm just going to put them in this basket as we go, and then I'll lay them out flat and cure them in my house. So I don't really need these. They're just kind of coming out, so I'm going to set those down there. And pull them all out. Ha! The potato came with that plant. So if you guys also watched my video of planting these potatoes, then you will know that this container has significantly less soil just because I didn't have much soil at the time. But I wanted to go ahead and get these potatoes planted because they were getting really, really long roots in my house. So I filled this one all the way up and filled this one only halfway up and was going to mount this one, but then I thought it'd be an interesting comparison to see how many potatoes come out of this container versus that one. So I'll probably switch baskets in the middle, and I also am going to rake up this mulch and put it in the container before I start getting the potatoes so that I can reuse the mulch. Yep, so first I'm just going to rake this mulch and put it into this 5-gallon bucket. There is a potato sticking out of the soil right there, but I am not going to harvest it yet because, like I said, I'm going to keep the containers separate, so I'm going to harvest this one first. So, there's my mulch that I can reuse. And I'm just going to start digging in this container. Oh, there's a giant worm. Potatoes are good at hiding, so I suspect I'll accidentally leave at least one potato in here. think that's all from that one. And from that bucket, we have this many potatoes, and I probably started with 4 potatoes this size. Oh, I got lightheaded when I stood up. So I'm just gonna dump these back onto the top of that container and then harvest the next one into here. Okay, all ready. Oh, another reason that I decided to harvest these today was this is the longest spell recently that we've gone without rain, and preferably your soil should be kind of on the drier side when you harvest potatoes so that it's easier to dig them out. And it's supposed to rain again tonight, so I didn't want them to get wet again. I need a bucket to put some of this soil into. I was thinking about potentially trying to do another round of potatoes before the frost comes, because I do still have roughly close to 90 days left in my frost-free growing season. Also gonna get another glove. No, my gloves do not match. Thank you for noticing. Well, I think we've already gotten more potatoes from this one, and I've only done half of it, so. I think I have thoroughly searched that second container, and this is what we have. So I'll pour them on top of their container and we'll do a little comparison. So here we have these potatoes came out of this container, and these potatoes came out of this container. I don't know exactly how much soil fits in there. That 5-gallon bucket took out about a third of this. So I think these containers are at least 20 gallons because this wasn't filled up all the way. There had some space and then some mulch at the top. So there's my July potato harvest that I am not upset about. That's probably a little over 5 pounds of potatoes. They'll lose a little bit of weight when I cure them, but then it'll be about 5 pounds of potatoes. So I grew 5 pounds of potatoes in 2 of these 20 to 30 gallon containers in 100 days. I'm not going to weigh them because I don't have a kitchen scale. So I won't really know, but I do a lot of cooking and a lot of buying bags of potatoes. And this looks about roughly 5 pounds to me. So right now I'm just gathering them all up to put into this basket to take inside and cure them. Curing them just means kind of giving them a lot of air but not a lot of light and letting them dry out a bit so that they will store for longer and not rot or sprout as easily. You have to do the same thing with garlic and onions. So here are all of my potatoes. Yeah, I still think that's a little more than 5 pounds, but like I said, they'll lose some weight in the curing process. I finished harvesting and doing a few other things in the garden, and I brought these tomato suckers inside that I cut off with you guys. I'm going to root these into plants. These are Sunrise Bumblebee cherry tomatoes.
I just know I'll have time to ripen cherry tomatoes on the vine before the frost comes. I still have a little less than 90 days. And off camera, I did cut off all of the large, more established strawberry runners, and I also dug one out of the ground that had rooted through my wood chip mulch for my flooring and into the soil outside of the garden. So I have these all here to pot them up into there. And last time I potted up strawberry runners this way, I struggled to keep them upright in the soil without burying them too far. So I just ran to the dollar store and got, oh, it's taped. It's taped. But I just ran to the dollar store and got this little container of paper clips, and I'm going to use them to anchor down my strawberry runners. And we should be able to bear count. Most of these have little nodes on them already that's showing where the roots would come out of. So I'm going to put those nodes down into the soil. Even this tiny one has nodes on it already. So what I'm going to do is take these paper clips, unfold them, leaving the middle bend like that. I'm going to put the rooting end of the strawberry runner into the soil like this, and then just use the paper clip to anchor it down. I saw someone else use paper clips this way on YouTube, and I just thought it would take great idea. And it is, obviously, that worked great already. I have been so busy in the garden today, but I have in general been a little bit on the neglectful side towards my garden. So it's my fault that I've had to be so busy, really. I do love being out there, so it's not like it's a negative sort of busy. That works so well, I'm so happy with that. I also have been planning and starting seeds and preparations for the fall garden, which is crazy because I feel like I just started to really ramp up production in the summer garden, but that's kind of how it goes. It's a season for everything. This one kind of has roots already, so I'm going to dig a small hole into the soil that I have and push the roots down in there. Backfill it, and I'm still going to hold it down with a paper clip because it's not going to be very strong after transplant like this. Don't want to bury that ground. So yeah, I have been starting things for the fall garden, and after I'm done putting all of these into soil cups, I will talk to you and show you guys what I have going on in this big giant grow tent over here for the fall garden. So that'll be fun. This isn't all strawberry runners, only the top like fluffy bit is. There's the potatoes that I harvested are in there. So I'm also going to set those up to cure after I'm done showing you guys everything in here. I have no idea what kind of strawberries these are. They could be Ozark Beauty, or they could to bottom water them as to not displace the soil and drown the strawberries. Okay, we are now down here on the floor with a cardboard box laid out flat because this table has a, 4-inch underneath, and this is the only dark place that has enough airflow in my house to properly cure my potatoes. So, oh no, that tray has a leak in it. Oh no, I'll have to fix that in just a minute. These strawberries that I just rooted, the tray is leaking onto my table. I've checked it for cracks and I didn't see any, but it happens. So I am just going to pour these potatoes onto the cardboard. This one is already rotting, so I'm glad I harvested them and am getting to this. And I'm just gonna spread them out to where none of them are touching each other. This one will go in the compost. Gross. And these are just going to slide. Last one. Slide straight under here so that they're not indirectly. Okay, so this is the previously mentioned giant grow tent, and hopefully you can hear me okay because usually there's 3 fans going in here, and I turned them all off so that they wouldn't be as much of background noise. So I didn't do this today, obviously. Some of them are already sprouting. I think you can see that. I did them on the 19th of July. Some of this is a second succession of some summer crops, and that would be this first tray here. So these 2 are Richmond green apple cucumbers, these 2 are muncher cucumbers, and these 2 are straight 8 cucumbers, all of which I think will be able to provide me at least some kind of harvest before it gets too cold for them. Let's see, today is the 25th. So we have, roughly 90 days until my first slight freeze in the middle / end of October. So then after those cucumbers, we have 2 Kiwano jelly melons. I'm not sure if those will actually come to fruition before the season ends, but that's okay. It's not much loss if they don't. This is a Monica cucumber. Here are straight neck yellow squash, and these 2 here are Italian striped zucchini, both of which I have not harvested any of this season, so I thought since I removed a lot of stuff that was in a place that gets more sun than where I currently have them growing, I can put them there and hopefully get some fruit out of it. Then over here is some mixed color zinnias, 3 mixed color zinnias, and then 2 evening sun sunflowers. Both of my sunflowers bloomed within the last few days, and I am obsessed with them, and with these smaller ones I have time to do another round, so I just thought I'd go ahead and do that. So that is all of the second succession stuff that I have planted from seed, along with the tomato suckers that I have over there on the table that I cut off with you guys today. Those are going to be my second succession of cherry tomatoes. I don't get full sun in my entire garden, so I'm not going to bother doing a second succession of slicer tomatoes. I just don't think it'll go well. I'm going to leave the slicers that I have growing out there for as long as I can, based on disease and time also, to see how much I can actually get off of them, but I've harvested quite a few tomatoes this season, so if I just continue to have some cherry tomatoes, then I'll be happy. They're playing games in there. I don't know if you can hear that. This second tray here is all a first succession of lettuce. I stopped growing lettuce in the middle of the summer because I just didn't have room with all of the stuff that I was starting and moving and putting outside, and it bolts so quickly that I have to grow it inside. So now that I have this big tent set up, I can just grow it inside. I don't have to put it outside and worry about it bolting. I can just start it inside and do that for a while until it cools down out there, and then I can start moving it outside and just have continuous lettuce. So each row in this one is a different kind of lettuce. So this one is Paris Island COS romaine. This one is Butter Crunch Butterhead lettuce. This one is Crisp Mint romaine lettuce. This one is May Queen lettuce. This one is Marvel of Four Seasons Butterhead lettuce. And this one is Merlot lettuce. As you can see, I sowed them pretty thickly. There's multiple lettuce heads, or lettuce sprouts in there. So I will thin those so that I can get big lettuces, because I have yet to grow a large head of lettuce, and I want to. But that's how I did with most of them. So like even these smaller little romaine babies, there's 4 of them. That way I would get at least 1 per, and I wasn't wasting time or space. Then we have the beginning of the fall garden back there in those containers in that tray. I'm not sure if my Brussels sprouts are getting leggy or if that's just how tall they're going to be. If they do get much taller than that, I'm going to re-sow Brussels sprouts, even though it's a little bit on the chancy side of whether or not I'll get them before hard freezes kills the plants. I might have to cover them some, but I'm fine with that. I'm also going to start leaving the door for this open, and so there will be 3 fans in here, and then the other fan that I have in the room will also be blowing them, just so they can be as strong as possible. But yeah, I really hope they don't get leggy in here, because I want some nice Brussels sprouts. So these 2 in the back corner on the right side are Groninger Brussels sprouts, and then this one and the next one are Long Island Improved Brussels sprouts. The next 2 here are Waltham 29 broccoli. The next 2 in the back of the row are Romanesco. There's Calabrese broccoli, 2 of those. And I do have 2 seeds per container, but those will get thinned down to 1 also. There's Golden Acre cabbage, that's this one, and then there's Glory of Inkhausen, I don't know how to say that, Glory of E cabbage, 2 of them there. This one and this one is Snowball cauliflower, and then 2 Napa cabbage up there in the corner. And once this front container gets transplanted outside, I will do another round of things like that, like Napa cabbages, some kale, some spinach, maybe more lettuce, just depending on how long these take to be ready to go outside. The rest of the stuff around here, this is some sedum. It's called sea urchin sedum. I just got that from my local grocery store, and I've been growing it, but it does like quite a bit of light, so I put it in this tent recently. These ones with the black and green leaves are taro, so that would be this one. Those 2 in the back are taro, and then these 2 and that one in the back left is caladium. These are just succulents. I don't specifically know the name of them. Let me know if you do. This is my ponytail palm, who seems very, very happy to be in the grow tent. His fronds are getting very long, and I love it. And I also recently outpotted this into this container. He was in a ceramic glass container, or a ceramic white container, and it wasn't draining very well, and there was some kind of white fungusy looking stuff in the soil so I rinsed off the roots and the base of the plant as well as I could and repotted it into this, and it's already doing so much better. This right here, just behind the ponytail palm, is the fig tree that I got at the Baker Creek Tulip Festival in April, and it's doing good. I know that you need more than one fig tree in order for them to pollinate and make fruit, but I didn't want that one to make fruit this year, so I just kept it inside. And that's the same thing with these two here. Those are the two top hat blueberries that I got at the Baker Creek Tulip Festival as well. Back there in the corner, the spiky guy is an aloe vera that was a rescue plant from a friend of mine, and it now has so many of its own new little babies right there. He's adorable. And then this one in the front is just a plain old hosta. Hosta is my favorite landscaping plant. I really love it. I think it's gorgeous for some reason, all the different variegations and colors. Same with coleus. I really like coleus as well. So yeah, that's everything in my grow tent. I kind of just wanted to show you guys that I am starting and thinking about my fall garden, because it is time for me to be doing that. I don't know if I say it a lot, but I am in southern Missouri, zone 6B/7A, depending on what Missouri wants. So if I want to do some fall crops to harvest in the beginning of winter, end of fall, then I have to start them basically right now or a few weeks ago. I started these last week, so I am a tiny bit late, but we'll see how it goes. It's really a toss-up. I don't know, it could go either direction. Alright guys, well that's all I really had to show you today. Thank you so much for coming along in my garden with me, outside and inside today. Hopefully I will be getting back in the habit of recording videos, because I went to Japan and came back and was sick, and it just hasn't been a normal thing now, so I gotta get back in the habit of that. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.